Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I've got a yoga for self-love. So we're going to really hone on to some parts of yoga that specifically bring our awareness to our self-love and self-worth. And this is we're going to start off with a little meditation using a mantra. As this is a technique that I use and find really helps for me, so I wanted to share that with you guys. Then we'll work through a nice yoga flow, Vinyasa flow, and we'll be focusing on some longer holds, as this just makes us stronger both physically and mentally. So therefore, we can be less likely to get knocked down by when we think bad things or we get told bad things about ourselves. So it's just giving you the skills in the yoga practice to kind of take away and try and incorporate these into your daily life. We'll also be doing lots of back bends, as this is a way of expressing ourselves. We quite often sit hunched over or cover ourselves up like this and have this kind of body language, hunching forward, and we're going to really open up our hearts and express ourselves. Yes, and also challenging postures can be really good for self-love, as you are then left with thinking, what is making me find this so challenging? And you're just connecting to yourself on a little bit of a deeper level. With the mantra meditation, I thought this is quite apparent with everything that's going on right now, seeing as we are being with ourselves a lot more than usual, just because we are being isolated and we are being in lockdown. So this can leave us with our inner dialogue, and quite often this can be we can give ourselves a really, really hard time. So I just want you to be aware of this inner dialogue, and so moving forward throughout your day, if you be mindful of you picking up on things like if you're looking in the mirror and just giving yourself a hard time, just kind of take that back, and then I'm going to teach you this mantra way of meditating, and then maybe just remind yourself of the mantra and let that take over your mind, because even if we don't believe what we're saying right now, it becomes a part of us. So if we're telling ourselves bad things all the time, then that's what we're going to believe, and that's going to be how we act and the energy we give off into the world. So if we replace the negative stuff for positive stuff, then this is going to have a major positive impact on our lives. And it's something so simple, but it's such a big impact. So with our mantras today, you can choose whatever you want to, but I'm going to give you some examples. So if you haven't done this before, then you can use one of the ones that I've said, or you can adapt it. So I'm just going to give really short and sweet examples, just because I think if there's something you've not done before, it's easier to start with something shorter and to the point. So I just find it much easier. And then as you do this practice a little bit more, you can develop on that, and so on and so forth. So some examples are: I love myself, I am beautiful. A good one for right now, which I often use at the moment, is I am heading in the right direction and I'm exactly where I need to be right now. Because I think with everything going on, everyone's plans have been stopped, everyone's aspirations, maybe you kind of feel a bit thrown off and that you can't do these, but everything is happening as it is, and we can't change that, so we just need to accept it. So I'd like you to just take a few moments to get into a comfortable seated position, either kneeling or cross-legged, up to you. Get a block, a cushion, anything. We won't sit for too long, but just make sure you're comfortable so you can sit through the whole duration of the meditation. When you're ready, we'll just close off the eyes, and we'll take a big deep inhale and exhale, just sigh it all out all together. So deep inhale, exhale. And we'll do one more, but stick your tongue out so you want to release all that air out of your lungs completely. So deep inhale, tongues out. Okay, now we should be ready to start. So I'd like you to bring your awareness to the mantra you have chosen. You're more than welcome to say this out loud or in your head. It's completely up to you. They are more effective and more powerful if you do say them aloud, but I understand that it can be quite a daunting thing to go into if you haven't done it before, or if you've got other people around, then it's still very effective to do in your head as well. So make sure you're sitting up nice and tall. Just maybe do a little quick body scan, see if you're holding any tension in any areas, especially your face, as we quite often to hold tension in our jaw. So when I practice this technique, with every inhale, I say my mantra, if it's short, and then exhale, and then repeat it on the inhale. If it's longer, obviously you need to breathe. So adapt it to your practice. So you should be working with your mantra now. Just checking in, seeing if the mind has wandered off. If it has, no worries, just bring it back to your mantra. Even if you're finding it hard saying what you're saying to yourself and maybe not believing it now, the more we manifest this into our daily lives, the more it's going to become our being and become our beliefs. Just noticing if there's anywhere in the body that you start to feel tension, and just take a note of that. Just repeating your mantra one last time. When you're ready, we'll all take one last deep inhale together and raise our arms up to the sky. And then bring our hands through heart center. Gently, slowly start to flicker open the eyes. So now we'll start to move into our Vinyasa practice. And with the mantras, you can use this in any part of your life. So if you start a new job and you're feeling nervous, and you can start by saying, I believe in myself, and use it as an aspect to tell yourself that you are good enough to be doing what you're doing. Or you can do this in the morning when you wake up and tell yourself that you're going to have a great day. And the more you practice this, the more benefits you're going to gain from it, and the more it's going to manifest inside you. So we're going to start to lie on our backs and hug our knees in, giving ourselves a little hug and cuddle, maybe rocking from side to side. Just really having a moment, feeling like you've got yourself. Maybe bringing the forehead towards the knees, maybe even giving your knees a kiss. And then we're going to rock backwards and forwards 5 times. So maybe seeing if you can hold the balance when you come up to your boat position. On the last one, we're going to rock all the way up into chair posture. So make sure you gain enough momentum to push yourself up into your chair. So we're coming into our first long hold. So you're going to get these challenges in your brain when it's telling you that you want to come out of the posture and you can't do it. But just tell yourself you can, and chances are you'll be able to stay in it a little bit longer, and therefore strengthening your physical body and your mental. So we'll hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and power up, hands to heart center. So now we're going to inhale, hands up to the sky. And we're just going to step back into a warrior 1. So step back that right foot onto a 45-degree angle. We're going to push into this front knee. So again, we're going to hold here for a few breaths, connecting to our inner warriors, showing our strength and power. Now we're going to frame that front foot, and with power and control, we're going to step this foot back to plank. So lift it off lightly and then step it back slowly into plank. And yes, we're going to hold plank as well. So this is one where we are always looking for distractions because it is challenging. It's working the entire body, but it's also strengthening our entire body and minds. Sometimes if you are really struggling to stay in a static hold of plank, you can rock backwards and forwards, and this kind of gives you a little bit of a distraction, but you are still working very hard. So it's okay to do this. But if you don't find it that challenging, then check in with yourself and see if you are just being a little bit lazy or you are pushing yourself to your edge. So now we're going to lower our knees to the mat, chest to the mat, push up to our cobra. Shining those hearts forward, coming into our first back bend of the practice, and feeling that motion of expression in the body. Maybe feeling proud. And just checking in to see where it is the parts of the body that start to fatigue first. Now we'll push back up to a downward facing dog. We'll come high up on the toes so we can get into the posture as deeply as we can. So come high, 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 and then sink your heart towards your knees, bend in the knees, and then lower your heels towards the mat. Nice deep inhales and exhalations here. Downward dog is posture we come to so many times, so just remember to check into it and don't get too lazy and just come. So try and push to your edge. Now we're going to bring this right foot between the hands and power up into our warrior one. And then we're going to open out into our warrior two. And as it is the first time we've been here today, we are going to hold it nice and strong. Making sure this back arm isn't falling down. We want to have one nice long line across from one hand to the other. Remembering to breathe. Sometimes if we're holding a posture, we can forget to breathe. Then we'll windmill those hands to frame the front foot, step back to plank, lower chaturanga or knees first, upward facing dog or cobra. In upward facing dog, we want to have our thighs coming off of the mat. Our glutes are engaged. And push back, downward facing dog. Now we'll bend through the knees and jump or step to the top of the mat, coming up to standing, head and neck coming last. So now we're going to repeat this on the other side. So arms up to the sky, step back left foot into warrior one. Holding nice and strong, making sure these hips are square. If this is a really challenging posture, because it can be sometimes when we're new to yoga or have tight calves, you can flip that back foot so that you're on the toes in a high lunge variation. Now we'll frame that front foot with control, step it back into our plank, nice and slow. And we'll hold here again. If you want to take those rocks, then you can. Then we'll lower knees, chest, chin or chaturanga, upward facing dog or cobra, downward facing dog. This time our left foot comes in between the hands and we power up into our warrior one. Open up to warrior two. Sinking deep into that front leg. Again, making sure this back arm isn't dropping down towards the mat. Then we'll windmill, frame that front foot, step back to plank. Knees, chest, chin or chaturanga. Upward facing dog or cobra. Downward facing dog. And we'll bend through the knees and step or jump to the top of the mat and then roll up to standing. So now we'll work through the postures a little bit quicker as we have done some long holds. So toes touching heels slightly apart, inhale hands up to the sky. Now we're going to take a gentle back bend here, so you just come to wherever you can. So remember, this is all about self-love, so don't push yourself too far. And then coming up to standing. And then we're going to sit into our chairs again. Maybe seeing if we can come a little bit deeper this time. And then forward fold. Halfway lift. Step or jump back to plank. Knees, chest, chin or chaturanga. Upward facing dog or cobra. Downward facing dog. Now this right foot comes in between the hands and we power up to warrior one. Then we're going to open up to warrior two. And now we're going to see if we can step through to dancer. So if you need to take an extra step in between, then that's absolutely fine. If you think you can do it with just one push off, then be my guest and have a try. But if you fall, don't worry, just come into it in whichever way you please. So we're going to push up, balance, and then catch that either the outside or the inside, whichever you prefer, your left hand to left ankle. Then we'll kick into that, the ankle into the hand, and as we do this, we counterbalance, and our right hand, whoops, just coming back into it if you fall out, that right hand coming down out in front. Oh, I clearly have no balance today. So here we're opening up that heart, that self-expression, and then with control, lower that back foot back down into warrior two. Windmill those hands, step back to plank, knees, chest, chin or chaturanga, upward facing dog or cobra, downward facing dog. So now we've got the other side to do. So we'll bring our left knee through to the nose and then place it in between the hands. Power up to our warrior one. Open up to warrior two. And then prepare for our dancer. So either stepping with a couple of steps into it or seeing if you can power into that front foot and come up in one movement. Catching either the outside or the inside of the right ankle with the right hand. Kicking strong into that back hand, and whilst the left hand comes out straight in front, focusing on a still point in front of you. And then with control, stepping back to warrior two. Windmill those hands, step back to plank. Knees, chest, chin or chaturanga. Upward facing dog or cobra. Downward facing dog. Feel free to take, actually we'll all take a child's pose here. So we'll come to a nice narrow leg child's pose. Forehead comes to the mat. Hugging everything in together. On the next inhale, we'll come back up to a downward facing dog. And then just step or jump those feet through to the hands and then come up to standing, head and neck coming last. So now we're going to open up to a goddess posture. So toes point to the outside, front outside edges of the mat, and we're going to sink into our hips. And we're just going to twist our upper body. So we're going to drop the left shoulder or the right shoulder first towards the left. Maybe hearing some cracks down the spine. I just did. And then over to the right side. So left shoulder coming to the right. Then to centre. And then we're going to bring our hands to heart centre and we're going to hold. So again, tapping into that self-belief and power. Making ourselves stronger physically and mentally. Maybe closing off the eyes to look inward. And then we'll push up to standing. Maybe just give those hips a little wiggle. And then we're going to come down again. And we're going to bring those hands up into the air and hold again. So choosing to either close off the eyes or choose a focal point not too far away from you. And then push up. And then we'll just walk those feet in a little bit closer so we can sink down into our malasana. So this should feel very nice after those goddess holds. Maybe using the elbows to push the knees open a little bit wider. Maybe rocking from side to side. Just really finding that connection between your mind and your body here. Now we're just going to walk our hands out into a downward facing dog. We're going to lift that right foot up to the air, opening up those hips nice and wide, and then bring it through to the nose and place it down across the body into pigeon posture. So this is a very deep posture, so lots of things can arise. We can often feel frustration and lots of kind of emotions like this that we don't really want to sit with. So it's good to sit with them sometimes. Just let them be and just observe them. So now we'll come forward into our sleeping pigeon, and just noticing what arises for you whilst you're in this deep posture. Maybe nothing arises, and that's fine. And the next inhale, slowly come up and step back into our 3-leg dog, maybe just giving that leg a little shake out before lowering it down, then lifting up that left leg, maybe opening up the hip if it feels nice to do so. Bring that through to your nose and then across the body into our left side pigeon. So one side is usually easier than the other, so again, being aware of this, and maybe noticing that completely different emotions arise for you on the other side. And then coming down into your sleeping pigeon. And then slowly coming up, stepping back into our downward facing dog. Maybe shaking that leg out. Then we're just going to jump between the hands, come to seated, and we'll just do one little core exercise. So we'll just bring our hands to heart center and we'll just do some boat twists. So we'll go to the left, right, left, right. When you don't get told how many reps or something, or the amount of times you're doing something, then you have this tendency in your brain to maybe want to stop earlier. So that's why I haven't told you how many we're going to do. Test you, see if you can just continue without knowing. Three, 2, 1, hug everything in. And then we'll just release everything to the mat. So in our Shavasana today, I'll give you the option to take a Supta Baddha Konasana. So this is bringing our feet together and letting the knees fall out to the sides. For some of you, this might be very uncomfortable. You can put blocks underneath your knees just so they are being supported. So in your Shavasana today, I'd like you to bring back that mantra. Make sure it's clear in your mind. And again, repeating this over and over. You're more than welcome to stay here for longer. If you'd like to close the practice with me, we're going to wiggle our fingers and our toes, maybe shifting the head from side to side. Hug those knees into the body, maybe rocking from side to side, giving yourself a nice little cuddle. Then just fall over to either the left or the right side, just feeling the earth beneath you and knowing that it's got you. And then slowly, keeping the eyes closed, we'll come up to seated, cross-legged or kneeling, however you'd like to sit. We'll take one last releasing breath altogether. So inhale, exhale. And then we're going to repeat a mantra all together. So I'll say it once and then I'd like you all to say it with me. So I am love and I am loving. So we'll all inhale and on the exhale we'll repeat that mantra. So inhale, exhale, I am love and I am loving. Namaste. Thank you everyone for flowing with me again. So yeah, mantras can be a very, very powerful practice. It can also make us very emotional. So I would say maybe try and incorporate this into your daily life. So even when you're just taking off your makeup in the evening or just washing your face, then if you're looking in the mirror, maybe just repeat that mantra of your choice 3 times, and then you can build this up and you can develop it to fit into your practice and your daily lives as you wish. So yes, hopefully you're feeling quite joyful and smiling after that practice, and I hopefully see you guys very soon. Bye.